Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Direct Action Gaming Studio, which is a fancy way of saying my studio apartment. Yep, I'm just some average, everyday guy who loves playing board games, and that's what I do in my spare time. That's this channel in a nutshell. I think it's important to start every video that way to sort of temper your expectations. There's not going to be anything fancy going on here. It's just me, some guy, playing a game. The game we're playing today is The Last of Us Escape the Dark. That is the game that you see set up here. In case you are not aware for some reason, The Last of Us was a video game. A rather popular one, too. So if you know a thing or two about video games, you've probably heard of The Last of Us. This, as you might imagine, is the board game adaptation of it. So I knew about this game for quite some time. I've been trying to expand my game library a bit to mainly to have more things to sort of bring to social events. Nowadays that's kind of the main thing that I like doing. This channel is just honestly, this channel is kind of a fun way for me to practice sort of doing game sessions, if that makes sense. I practice not only with the game, the getting used to the flow of the game, but also presenting the game to a bunch of folks such as yourselves in an interesting and entertaining way. That's what I am primarily trying to practice right now. Because yes, I love having game nights. Game nights are cool. So we're trying to get used to that. But anyway, got this to expand my collection, to do all those things I was just talking about. Saw it on Amazon for $50. That was a pretty good deal, mainly because this is like the basic core version of this game. I saw plenty of other versions that were like up to $300 something for all kinds of fancy extra stuff. The Kickstarter edition, lots of miniatures, yada yada yada. We don't have fancy stuff with this version, okay? Nothing fancy about it. You see tokens rather than miniatures. We've got these really simple character sheets and okay, so in a nutshell, The Last of Us is yet another zombie game, is what we might say. I think a lot of people liked it because it wasn't just a zombie game. It was a zombie game that kind of like The Walking Dead focused a lot more on like characters and narrative and sort of like, trying to explore moral questions and things of that nature. I've been messing around with this game a bit, trying to like do some dry runs and just kind of test my way through it to once again practice the flow so that like when I record myself on the internet, it doesn't take too long. I don't mess up too much. If you look through my library of videos on this channel, you will notice I had to learn that the hard way. Like, you try to play a game just out of the box without very much practice, you're going to mess some things up. That's what I mean by the flow of the game. But anyway, I guess the point I'm trying to make here is like, I don't know if we're going to get that deep with this game. I've played through it a few times. Like, yeah, there's random events that are a bit descriptive. We could say that there's like technically a different journey every single time you play this game. But really what it boils down to is like, you've got 5 characters that you could be, anywhere from 2 to 5. In the solo version, which is what we're doing, you just play 2 characters as if you had 2 players. And we, of course, have chosen Joel and Ellie, the iconic main characters of the first game. So we're going to try to get to the end with both of them being in one piece. And there it is in a nutshell. You have X amount of characters. They are trying to get to that card you see at the top of the board there. That is Jackson. That is technically what the game calls like the boss card, I guess, because the idea is there's going to be like a sort of like a big final battle, sort of once you get there to Jackson. And there it is in a nutshell. We need both characters to be alive and to get to Jackson in one piece. So that's our win condition. The loss conditions are, of course, one of the characters dies. So that's why we have these player boards to try and... Oops, did I just... Okay. I was... doing the wrong knob there. Anyway, that's why we have these player boards to keep track of... Oh my gosh, I forgot something else. We need these little cubes to keep track of all the little things on the little character boards, and I forgot the health cubes. Yes, we have hit points. So this is very video gamey. Yes, we have like... Our characters have like a health bar that starts at like 14 and goes down to 0. So once the little health cube gets down to X, that character is dead and everyone has lost the game. This is a cooperative game. If you haven't played cooperative board games before in a nutshell, there it is. I like cooperative board games. I have a whole bunch of them on this channel, especially Zombicide. I love that one. Anywho, lost conditions, somebody dies, or you can see also besides the right beside and above the boss card are kind of the other lost conditions, right? There is at the very top of the board, there's like a calendar is what the game calls it. You've got like a sort of white token and a black token. The white token represents sort of like the normal passage of time for like the journey that the survivors are on. So it will go forward once each day. The black token kind of represents the progress of the infection, though. So it will only go forward sometimes based upon certain conditions. If the white token and the black token ever meet, the characters have run out of time. They can no longer get to Jackson because the infection has progressed too much and they are too far away. So they get, I would like to think, probably eaten alive by a big horde or something like that. The other thing is to the side of the boss card, to the right of it, you have these little slots for what the game calls boss tokens. So we will add boss tokens to the sort of Jackson boss card, once again, based upon certain conditions throughout the game. There is a total of 6 boss tokens. If we add the 6th boss token, that will represent Jackson itself being overrun by a bunch of zombies. So either or, if like the survivor token and the infection token sort of become on the same space, land on the same space on the calendar at the top, over, too many boss tokens, over. So long story short, we want to get to Jackson alive, and we want to try and do it quickly before we run out of time. That is what this game is in a nutshell. And I guess I'm trying to explain all that because, like, in my test playthroughs, I've noticed there's a lot of ways for you to get, like, distracted as you're playing this game, because there's besides the boss location, as you can see, there are 5 different locations that you can go to, and you can see the character tokens down at the bottom here. This is your starting point, which is the Fedra quarantine zone. So if you ever played the game, once again, you're probably somewhat familiar with that's where the beginning is. You're in this sort of like QZ with a bunch of soldiers, and the general vibe is like things are going south. This is kind of bad. We need to get the hell out of here. There's a place we can go. Let's go there. So here we go. Let's just start the game. Let's start the game. But to expand on my the point I was trying to make a little bit earlier, you can get distracted. There's all sorts of things that you can do, locations you can go to. There's like goodies that you can find. There's like stashed item decks at each place. There's a lot of stuff that you can do in this game, and then once again, you will lose by just running out of time. So let's see if we can actually win. That might happen. It probably won't, though. We're gonna try to finish a playthrough, and once it's done, it's done, and we will have successfully checked out this game and gotten the vibe. So once again, we start in the QZ. Start in the QZ down here. You have two little cards that represent directions that the players could go in to exit the QZ. So the idea is you flip the cards for each direction, and now you know what sort of benefits and or drawbacks you will have as a group when you go in that direction. So the characters could split up if they want to, or they could both go in the same direction. They could all go in the same direction. You're going to get the things that happen on this card. So in to the west, we have Interrogate a Fedra Guard. That's something that happens when we go out west. We go out east, we use the Smuggler Network. So, okay. What I've done a lot through most of my test runs is try to split people up. Joel and Ellie will go to both the suburbs and downtown, so that way we can get the benefits, like all of the benefits from both cards. Because a basic rundown of these benefits is we can gain intel and we can draw items. Gaining intel is simply flipping cards for the stashed item decks, so we can like hear where a thing might be or find out about a potential bad situation or trap and avoid that by gaining intel. So we're going to gain intel in a certain fashion, and we're also going to get some items by going each of these directions. You can see these little black spaces on the bottom of each card. That's the drawback, where we're going to lose a certain amount of hit points based upon where we go. So if we go west, we're going to lose 2 hit points, but we're going to get 3 items total. If we go east, we're going to lose only 1 hit point, but we're only going to get 2 items. West, we will gain intel on any 2 different locations, so we will get to choose. If we use the Smuggler Network, we're going to gain intel at the suburbs and at downtown. So my plan for this run was to try and do something a little bit differently and this time, and not split up Joel and Ellie, which honestly is something that I initially thought. Like, if there's only 2 people, if it's only Joel and Ellie, it doesn't make sense for them to go in different directions initially. They should both go the same way. We aren't going to get as much stuff that way, but it's going to make things a little bit easier to have them both in the same place, and we'll see why soon enough. So we're going to take both of these tokens, and we're going to move them into these little slots by the downtown area to represent the fact that they have both decided to go west from the quarantine zone. They interrogated a guard, so they both got a little messed up. They both lost 2 hit points, and I'm going to move the little cubes on their player boards to represent that. We're also going to get the bonuses here, which is gain intel at any 2 different locations. Once again, going back to my little plan here, I was thinking about getting intel about these top 2 locations, Lakeside and University, because that might help me decide which direction we should go to get to Jackson. So we can see there's an El Diablo pistol up at the Lakeside, and then at the University, it's an event card which since we gained the intel, it says on reveal, danger avoided, discard this card. So there was a bad thing that could have happened, but we found out about that beforehand, so we got rid of that. Okay. So if we decided to go to the university, that would not happen, but we also kind of don't know what kind of goodies might be there to sort of say, well, that's better than El Diablo. Anyway, we did that. Also, we're going to get to draw 3 items finally. So we go to the item deck up here, take 3 cards, and then we can decide whose inventory we should put these cards in. So we have canned food, we've got sugar, and we have ammo. All right, we're going to give Ellie the ammo. Let's see. We're going to give her the smoke bomb. And I think we're going to give Joel the canned food. That's how we're going to play this. All right, so now we take these QZ cards and we discard them because we're never going back to the QZ. That is gone. We can't go east now because we went west. So we don't get any of the benefits from going east. We are now, both of us, at downtown. And another thing we're going to do is there is a camp card at each location. We flip that. And we see what kind of potential benefits we could get from camping at this location. And so now I guess we can talk a little bit about what the basic turn structure is like for this game. There's really 2 phases for the most part. You got the travel phase and the action phase. And that's all there is to it. We've just done the travel phase technically, which is why the instruction booklet will tell you to skip the travel phase on your first turn, because you have automatically done that beforehand. You went from the QZ to either the downtown or the suburbs, or both perhaps. That already happened. We traveled. So now we are at the action phase. Each character has 1 action that they can do during the day. And this is why the little character tokens will have 2 sides. You can flip them to the black side to sort of represent that they have already done their action and they are finished for the day. Once all characters have done their actions, the day is over, and then that calendar thing that I was talking about at the top of the board, you move the little white token forward to denote the passage of time there. Let's make sure the camera is looking over here at downtown, because this is where the action is currently gonna happen. Okay, so when it comes to actions, for the most part, you have 2 decisions. You can camp or you can explore. So when we camp, we're interacting with the camp card. And then we can see there's like these little circles here. One says ammo stash and one says medical supplies. So one character, or sometimes perhaps multiple characters, because for the ammo stash, it says up to 2 survivors. For the medical supplies, it says 1 survivor only. But if characters decide to use the camp action, that is the thing that they do. And then we will take one of these tokens that says X on it to represent that thing has already been done. We can't do that thing again. Someone could use up the medical supplies in this location, and they're not coming back because we already used them up. Same thing with the ammo stash. So we could do that, or we could explore. Now, in addition to those actions, we also have preparation actions, which you actually kind of technically have an infinite amount of. Preparation actions are like very simple actions that you can do before or after you explore by flipping what the game calls chapter cards. Once we flip this chapter card, an event is in play, and then we have further decisions to make during that event. So we can prepare for that event. We can also prepare for the next day after that event, but we can't do preparation actions during the event. So a great example of this would probably be the canned food that we found for Joel. He did lose 2 hit points by just sort of leaving the QZ. I guess they both got messed up by the guards when they were doing that thing to get out. So Joel can do a preparation action by eating the canned food. We discard that card, and now he can go back up to full health to prepare for whatever the hell is going to happen when we flip this chapter card. There really isn't much else that we can do. We have sugar, and we have an ammo card. We can't really use the sugar by itself. The sugar is like a crafting item. So we could combine the sugar with an explosive and make a smoke bomb. But we don't have an explosive, so we can't do that. And there's no reason to use the ammo card to reload because we haven't done any shoot actions just yet. We're going to see that once and if we get into combat with this first chapter card. So with all that out of the way, our characters, I think, are obviously going to explore, and Joel is going to take the lead. One of your characters must decide to take the lead, and this is going to become important if we flip this chapter card and there is a keyword that says you. So whoever's taking the lead might be subject to a thing that will happen that isn't going to happen to the people that are like behind the party leader. Joel is oh my gosh, I forgot another thing. I forgot to put cubes on the character flaw tracks. This is probably a good point for me to explain this other kind of neat mechanic of this game. Because besides health points and like the various like stats for your weapons on these character cards, we also have, let me turn the camera over so you can see what I'm talking about. These little cubes here on Joel's card, you can see there's 3 of them. So Joel's character flaw is disillusioned. Now, we can remove these cubes in order, right? So there are like 3 actions that Joel basically, the character of Joel has to take in a certain order to get rid of his character flaw, which is disillusioned. Now, this is important because like up at the top right corner of the board, there are 5 special ability cards that are basically going to give your character a particular buff, a powerful extra special ability that they can get if they sort of go through their little character arc and get rid of their character flaw. And I think that's kind of neat. And that's why we're deciding to take the lead with Joel. If Joel decides to do that, and that's a thing that happens, then since that is the first thing that Joel will have to do, we can get rid of that cube. So Joel is taking the lead. We can get rid of the cube. We can toss that. And now we can also flip this top chapter card and see what it says. And it says, as you search this ruined office building, a Fedra truck screeches to a halt outside. You scramble for cover as its mounted cannon swivels in your direction and unleashes a thunderous barrage. In turn, each survivor present must roll hit dice equal to the threat level, losing 1 hit point for each target rolled. If you survive, read on. Okay, that's not great because the threat level currently for this location is 3. So we're going to have to take these black hit dice, which kind of represent like the possibility of enemies hitting you with ranged damage in combat. And we're going to have to roll 3 of them for each character. So first, we're going to start with Joel to see if he loses hit points and how many he will lose. So we got 3 blank sides, so the Fedra truck missed him completely. That's cool. Now we're going to roll for Ellie to see if she takes any strays. She gets hit once, so she is going to lose 1 more hit point, and that brings her down to 11. Okay. So we did survive, and now I guess we read the rest. To your amazement, the truck suddenly explodes. A moment later, a group of fireflies emerges from concealed positions to proudly examine the smoldering wreckage. One of them gives you a subtle nod before they disappear, melting into the terrain once more. Discard a threat token, then search. Okay. So here's how the rest of this is going to play out. It's saying discard a threat token. So that's these little tokens with the exclamation mark at the top of the location. There are 4 slots for these threat tokens. We remove 1, thanks to the fact that we just explored, and the card told us that we could remove that. So now the threat level for this location is currently 2. The most it could ever be is 4. We have just reduced it slightly. We're going to have to reduce it at least 1 more time for us to be able to travel from this location to the next location, the sewers. So now we're going back to that thing I was talking about earlier, the travel phase. Characters can travel from one location to the other, to an adjacent location, I should say. You can't go all the way across the map, but there has to be a clear path from that location to the other one. If the path is blocked, you can't go there. So we're going to have to explore at least 1 more time to remove that threat token so that we can move to the next location. All right, so we removed that threat token. It also says, though, that we can search. So this means, since we have successfully done the exploring thing, we didn't die, we, got through the challenging thing, we can now search the area because the coast is clear. So there are 4 actions we can decide to take. We can gain intel. That's that thing I was talking about. We can reveal the top stash card at any location. We can raid stash, which sort of represents if we already know what the top thing is, thanks to gaining intel. If the top card is already revealed, we can just take that in 1 action. Or we can draw blind, which is once again taking the top card, but it's when you don't know what the top card is. And so the important thing to stress about that is, if it's an event, unlike that earlier event that we were able to reveal and avoid, if it is drawn, we get the negative consequences for that. Also, there's scavenge, which is just taking more cards from the item deck in the upper left corner here. I'm pretty sure I already know what I want to do. Let's see. Ellie is going to draw blind, which may be bad. She may get damaged once again, and she's already kind of damaged. But that is going to remove the top cube of her sort of character arc. If she draws blind, we get to remove that cube. If Joel also draws blind, he can remove his other cube too. So we could do 2 draw blinds, because we're allowed for free, I guess you could say, to do 2 bonus actions on a search. Or we could take 4. But I think I found out the hard way, you don't really want to do that, especially not early on in the game. Because when you do that, you lose a day and you add a boss token. So this is one of those conditions I was talking about earlier that will cause those other things to happen. When you lose a day, you move the infection calendar token forward. So now you're going to run into it sooner and have less time. if we add a boss token, that will A, make the final boss fight a little bit more difficult, and B, that's one less boss token slot we have before Jackson gets overrun. So losing, deciding to take 4 search actions just sort of represents like taking 2 whole days, basically, taking a really long time to thoroughly search the area. Time that we kind of don't really have right now, even though it's technically the start of the game. Like, I wouldn't want to like intentionally lose a day and add boss tokens unless I knew I had plenty of time left, because there are other conditions that will just cause that stuff to happen and you don't have a choice in the matter. So that's a strategy that I've developed so far with, you know, my limited experience of the flow of this game, as I was talking about earlier. So anyway, we're going to have Ellie draw a blind, and hopefully this is not bad. What's the top card? It is a hunting rifle. Ellie can, if she wants, take a hunting rifle, and duh, she's going to take that hunting rifle. That means she will have to ditch her 9mm pistol. She will have to do that. We could give the hunting rifle to... No, we should give it to Ellie, I think. Because Joel has a revolver that already does damage too. It doesn't have the same capacity that the hunting rifle has. But, yeah. I think I'd like to give this hunting rifle to Ellie. She will take this. So that's the deal. Like, your characters have... Let's go back to the character cards again. The way their inventory works, you have 1 slot for 1 melee weapon. Starting weapons are usually things like the plank, the 9mm pistol, and or the revolver. If there's going to be 5 players, you're probably only going to be able to have like 1 thing each. But when there's 2 to 3 players, you get 4 cards. And if there's only 2 players, well, Joel and Ellie can both start with a melee and a ranged weapon. Ellie had to get rid of her 9mm pistol to take the hunting rifle because you can only carry 1 melee and or ranged weapon. And we can see on Ellie's card, she has ammo. There's an ammo card right next to her hunting rifle. We get to pile up as many ammo cards there as we want. And that card pretty much universally means that you can just load any weapon. It's universal ammo. You can use it as a preparation action or potentially during the combat round under certain conditions. Anyway, we've got these 3 slots on the bottom for items. And this works in a similar fashion, right? I can put sugar in this slot for Ellie. I can put, if I get additional sugar cards, I can put them on top of this sugar. If I get a different item card, I can put in another slot. There are only 3 item slots. So if our item slots are full, we're going to have to ditch something. We're going to have to throw it away. We're going to have to use it right away, or we're going to have to give it to somebody else. We're going to have to get rid of it some kind of way because we are full. That's how the inventory system works. So, okay. Ellie did the draw blind, and she lucked out. She got a hunting rifle. We do get to remove that cube from her now. And I don't know, if we're feeling really risky, we could have Joel draw blind, and he would get rid of that other cube. He would get rid of the second cube, and we might get a thing. We might. It could also be an event that screws up Joel, but he's currently at full health. So we could either have him draw blind, gain intel somewhere else. We could do that at the university. We could straight up do it here at the suburbs. That would be a safe way to determine what's here. Or we could just also play it safe by saying scavenge, and he takes one thing from the item deck over there. Screw it. Let's have him draw blind. We're going to have him draw blind. What's the thing? What happens? It's an event. Joel loses 2 hit points. When drawn Tripwires, you lose 2 hit points, and then you discard this card. Okay, so Joel, it's a good thing he didn't get hit, and he had that canned food, because now he's right back to 12 hit points. But he did draw blind, so we get rid of that cube. Okay, so Joel is almost there for, well, getting his special ability. Once you do get rid of all 3 cubes, you get your special ability. You get to choose one of the 5 cards at the top right of the board there. Okay, so after having done all that, in theory, we're supposed to flip them over to represent it's the end of the day, but really the only other thing to do now is to move that white token at the top of the board forward 1 space. And then it's just literally going to be the next day after that. So I think like flipping the tokens to the black side is really for when you have like more players, like 5 people, and each person decides what to do one at a time, kind of to keep track of who went and who didn't. So we're just going to move forward to day 2 with the knowledge that like we can't do anything else, because we aren't deciding to lose a day and add a boss token. We just did 2 things. That was our search. Boom. That was the explore. Out of the way. So now we're at the second day, and Ellie and Joel can decide what to do now. I think I'm very tempted to do something like this. We could have Ellie do the camp action, because there is a medical supplies camp action here. It is 1 use. It is for 1 survivor only, and Ellie will get 3 hit points back. And on top of all that, if Joel does the explore action by himself and he gets into some sort of a combat action, he will be fighting alone. So then he will get rid of his disillusioned character flaw already right off the bat. That's not terrible. So, okay, I think we're going to do that. So we're going to take one of these tokens here from the supply. We're going to put an X on medical supplies. We're going to flip the Ellie token. She went. We're going to give her 3 hit points back because she used the medical supplies. Now she's back to 12. Now Joel is going to explore by himself. So that means, yeah, I don't think there's any preparation actions we need to take. Like, in theory, we could do stuff like Ellie could trade. She could give the ammo to Joel. There's no real point in doing that, or giving Joel the sugar. They could trade weapons too. Joel could get the hunting rifle from Ellie. That's another thing that could happen. I don't think I'm going to do that. It might make sense because the hunting rifle is more powerful, and it's not like Ellie is fighting. So I don't know. Maybe they should trade now that I think about it. There's no reason to give the ammo, though. And the reason for that is you actually can't reload in combat if you are going it solo. You can, which kind of makes sense. The way the book describes it is if you're not fighting with anybody else, there's nothing to distract the enemy, and you're not going to have enough time to actually reload your weapon. So for the moment, I think our characters are going to swap weapons. That's a preparation action that's going to happen. We're going to do a trade real quick. So Ellie is going to get the revolver, Joel is going to get the hunting rifle, and Joel is going to have 2 ammo cubes now rather than 1, because the capacity for the hunting rifle is 2. Max fire rate is 1, and that kind of means that Joel can take 2 shots with his hunting rifle, and it's going to do 2 damage each time. We'll see how that works if we get into combat. We're going to flip this chapter card. Yeah, it looks like there is some potential combat. It says here, a small group of fireflies is hunkered down in the city ruins, engaged in a fierce firefight with Fedra personnel. Choose one option. Move on. This isn't your fight. Discard a threat token. Help the fireflies for the cause. Begin combat. Okay. So, and yeah, we're definitely going to do this. We're definitely going to choose to help the fireflies for the cause, begin combat, so that we can do combat with Joe alone. I guess it's a good thing that he brought his hunting rifle. That is probably going to come in handy. And we even have an ammo stash here, so he might be able to just reload it using the ammo stash. Anyway, so here's how combat works, and it's actually kind of neat. Let me move the camera once again a little bit so you can get a somewhat better view. So there's this area below each of these chapter card areas where you put what the game calls chapter dice. All right, so we determine how many enemies and how difficult they are by rolling these chapter dice. So this chapter event is going to tell us how many chapter dice we're going to roll. So first of all, we're going to roll X amount of chapter dice equal to the current threat level of the area. So I take 2 chapter dice and I roll them. All right, we have wisdom, a single, and a double. We're going to see how this works in a bit. This is all going to be explained as we go. I know this all sounds kind of weird right now. Characters basically have 3 traits. There's might, there's cunning, and there's wisdom. And so those symbols are going to show up on the chapter dice, and that has something to do with melee combat and like whether you are able to like get hits or not. Well, anyway, we do 2 based upon threat level. We also add 2 single wisdoms. So that's 4 dice so far. And we also roll 1 extra sort of die, which could be anything. There's a question mark, which means you just kind of roll it, and whatever it is, that's what you get. So it is yet another double. It's a might and wisdom. So, okay. Those are the dice that we have for now. These 5 dice, they kind of represent the hit points for the enemy that we're going up against. Joel is going to have to knock out all of these dice to sort of say that he has actually defeated the enemy. Now, before we start combat, though, we have the option to do some pre-combat stuff. We can listen and we can sneak. We have the option to do these things. We don't have to. We can skip them if we want to, but for this time, we have the option. We might as well do them to see how this works. So what's kind of also neat about this game is each character has their own unique die. So you might be able to see this one says Joel. Joel has a unique sort of die that can be rolled to represent him as a character. So we can roll this die as a sort of like wisdom check to see if he can successfully listen to sort of learn more about the enemy before he begins his approach. And he does not. He fails that because he got cunning. That's unfortunate. So since he failed, that means we don't get to change the face of any of the die. That's what would have happened if we had succeeded. We would be able to decide different faces for these die here, which is important because it would make it easier for us to sort of like take these things out, basically, potentially. But now, since we failed, we actually have to add another one. So I'm going to roll another die. And we've got yet another double. That is might and wisdom. So we now have 6 die. Oof. All right. So let's see here. Joel could sneak. I don't think he will, though. He's not going to sneak because he's basically, if you want to sneak, you have to roll your character die once again, and you have to get either a cunning or a crit. So we already got the cunning when we didn't want it for the listen. But if we roll again and Joel fails sneaking, he will not be hidden, and he's going to take damage before the fight even starts. Now, if you pass your little sneak test, you are now hidden, and you can do a sneak attack, which means you can remove some of these die before the combat even starts. So potentially, you can make the fight a lot easier on your characters if you can successfully do listen by changing the die to something a bit more easier to take out. Because, like, for example, if I really wanted to make it easy on myself, I could change the faces to like single like a single might, because I know that it's the highest, there's a highest possibility of getting a single might for a might result for Joel. His die has like the most might, because that's kind of like his highest stat, sort of. Anyway, we're not sneaking, so now we go to combat. So now that combat has begun, it's going to be just one round at a time. Joel can make an action, and we can try to get rid of some of these combat dice. As long as the combat dice remain, the enemy has a chance to hit back. Based upon how Joel attacked, that's how much damage he might take. So let's see how this works. What we're going to do is we're going to start with the hunting rifle, I think, because that's going to give us the potential for more damage. And it's also going to make it, I think, a little bit easier to take out some of these doubles that we have here. Because the only way you can take out these double dice in melee combat, especially if you're rolling solo, you have to get a crit. You have to get a critical success. That's like one side of your 6-sided die. So we're going to try to knock out some of these doubles with the hunting rifle. And to do that, we're going to need to take an ammo dice. Here's an ammo die. This is very similar to the hit die that we were rolling earlier for that Fedra truck. So this die is going to represent Joel using his hunting rifle. So since we're deciding to do a shoot with Joel, we have to take one of the ammo cubes from his player board and toss that out, because he's about to take a shot. And now we're going to see if he actually hits or not. If he does hit, we get to remove 2 die because it's a hunting rifle. That's the damage for one hit. And it's a miss, so we just wasted that ammo for nothing. And now what we do is we roll a hit die, because the enemy now gets to shoot back. And they have a range damage of 2. If they hit Joel, he's going to take 2 points of damage. And they missed 2, so he does not take any damage. Okay. So we're going to use our last round here to see if we can maybe get a hit and get rid of at least a couple of these doubles. Okay, now we get a hit. So now we get to remove these 2 doubles on the side here. So we now only have 4 dice left. So Joel took another shot. That's the last of his ammo. The enemy gets to shoot back. And if they hit, he takes 2 damage. They did hit, so he does take 2 damage now. He goes from 12 down to 10. All right. So now Joel doesn't have any ammo left. He's going to have to do melee from now on. So now we get to see how melee works a little bit. Now it might make a little more sense what I was talking about earlier with these symbols here. Because basically, we're going to have to get a matching symbol or a crit to get a hit here. Because if Joel can score a wisdom, he will knock out one of these single wisdoms. He's going to need a crit to get out that to get that final one. So this is going to be kind of rough, because I'm now noticing that, like, if Joel gets one of the 2 wisdoms, he's going to be taking 2 damage each time. He will take somebody out, but he's going to be taking 2 damage. If he gets a crit, he can take out any die that he wants, and he won't be taking any damage because you can see the little shield there. And that's how melee works, more or less. You will not take any damage from the enemy if you got a block result. So everybody has a crit like that. Some people will have like a block on a certain side of their die. So Joel has, I guess on this die, there are 2 chances that Joel can block when he does melee. So let's see how messed up Joel is going to get. If he gets too messed up, we might have to withdraw, which will not be great. We will have to either withdraw or bypass this. Those are 2 options. That we will not be able to search, but Joel will get to just leave the combat without taking any more damage. Let's roll to see what the first result is. It is a crit. Cool. So Joel is not going to take any damage, and we get to get rid of that 1 double. So that's cool. We got rid of that. Double is gone, so now we have a 50-50 shot each time for getting rid of one of these wisdoms, because we can get the crit or either of those doubles, and either of those wisdoms. All right, let's roll again. We got another crit. So Joel takes no damage, and we get rid of another dice. So, hey, this is working out pretty good so far. So he hasn't taken any additional damage just yet, and we only have 2 dice left to go. Now, I could decide to, if he gets a hit next time, I could decide to make it like a sort of ultra hit. The thing with the plank weapon is there's a durability score on it, and you can decide if you get a hit, you can remove 1 point of durability and remove an extra die. So we could get rid of 2 die at once with 1 hit if we wanted to, but that would mean that the plank is almost done, basically. Okay, we did get a block, but it was a miss. So Joel did not take any damage, but he also didn't take any of the enemy out either. So we're going to roll again. We once again get the same result. He's got a block, no damage, but no damage for anybody. We get a crit. Okay. So once again, no damage, and we could take out 1, or we could take out 2. With respect to the fact that Joel is at 10, and we're almost done with this, I think I'm just going to do it. We're just going to remove 1 durability. Joel is just going to say, screw this, and just do a big smack. Damage his plank somewhat, but we're going to be able to take out 2 chapter die with 1 hit, the crit here. So now Now the combat is over. We have gotten rid of all the chapter dice, and cool. So now we get to remove a threat token. We're down to 1 threat token, and we can see that the path is currently open. We also get to do that search action once again, just like we did last time. So Joel can do 2 things. He can... Oh, right. You know what I forgot is, since he's fighting alone, he can also grab one of these special abilities. That would have helped, I think. I could have chosen one of these special abilities as soon as the combat started, really. So... last time for him, I took Ferocious. When taking the melee action, if you roll any single or a crit, it counts as 2 of that result. There's also Relentless. Once per round, when taking the melee action, if you roll a block, roll again and apply both results. Ooh, I kind of like that one. Ooh. That almost sounds better than Ferocious. All right, let's take Relentless. This time, Joel has Relentless. I took Ferocious for him once before, but this time we'll take Relentless. So, let's move the camera once again a little bit. So what's kind of neat is, once you remove all those little cubes, you take that special ability card, and then you put it on top of the character flaw. And that is now a thing that they have. That's a sort of buff that character now has. So Joel is just a little bit better at melee combat. So that's pretty cool. But he still has these 2 things that he could do. Gaining intel might be a good idea. It might be a great idea, actually. He could gain intel twice. Okay, let's do this. He will gain intel once here at downtown, and it is a pipe. Cool. We now know there is a pipe here at downtown. That is nice. So the pipe is definitely a better melee weapon with a much higher durability. I like the sound of that. And the other thing he could do is just scavenge and grab an item card from up here, and it is ammo. So Joel gets some ammo. That's cool. And we can sort of discard this chapter card, and before we advance the day, we could say Joel takes a preparation action by using this ammo card, and he can reload. He could use the ammo stash camp thing to reload a ranged weapon. That would be a camp action, and that would be him doing just that for like the entire day. I don't think I want to do that, but he's gonna get to... that's still something we could do, I guess, but he's gonna reload at the end of the day after that fight. Now the hunting rifle is fully loaded. So that's cool. And we're going to move the player calendar marker, survivor calendar marker, forward 1 spot. It is now the next day, and we get to encounter another sort of game mechanic here. Some of the calendar spots have a little exclamation mark, much like the threat markers have. And those calendar spots represent an outbreak day, according to the game. When you have an outbreak, that kind of represents the infection getting worse. And it means you put an additional threat marker at each location. I'm gonna double check real quick here. That is all that means, right? Certain days in the calendar track are marked with exclamation mark indicating an outbreak. The infected are wearing a number. When the survivor calendar marker is moved onto an outbreak space, immediately add 1 threat token to the track at each location unless its threat track is already full or the location has been cleared. Okay, yes. So once again, that is all that we do. We add... I was just checking to make sure we don't also move the infection marker forward. My brain thinks that's also something that you would have to do during an outbreak, but I guess not. I guess we're just adding threat markers to each location. Now you can probably see one issue that we are encountering here. Not only is the locations in the northern part of the map going to be more dangerous than they already were, we also got that threat marker that is blocking our path back. So the path is not actually clear now. It is blocked again, meaning we are going to have to do another explore to try and move from downtown to the sewers. So that's what's going to happen today. We're going to have to do another explore. Yep, we're going to do that. I don't need to mention this at all, but I will anyway. I'm going to pause the video here really briefly. Okay. Let the action resume. I had to get some stuff done in the apartment here. Cat Harry is rubbing up against the camera stand here. What are you doing, Harry? All right. Here's what we're going to do. First of all, move the camera a little bit so that y'all can see. Okay, so it is a new day, and as I said, we had to do an outbreak day, which means we had to increase the threat level of every location. We're going to have to do another explore in this location, which is, honestly, it's probably something we were going to want to do anyway, because we want to get that pipe. But we're going to have to do this explore, and then tomorrow we're probably going to have to move on, because on the 5th day, there's going to be another outbreak, and that's going to replace... Unless we cleared the location, we could do another explore and clear the location, and that would max out the threat level of the next location we go to, the sewers, but it would potentially allow us to upgrade the hunting rifle. Yes. After looking at all the cards, I know what a lot of the possibilities are here. So there's a clear card at the bottom of each chapter card stack. And once you've cleared the location, you get to flip that card and see what your bonus action options are after having cleared the location. So if we do 2 explorers in a row, we get rid of all of the threat markers. We aren't going to get any more threat markers here. And if we get a workbench option on the bottom of this location, then we're going to get to upgrade the hunting rifle for Ellie. That's going to be an option that we have. And with that in mind, we're also going to a preparation action we're going to do before we do this next exploration is Joel and Ellie are going to do a quick swap, a trade. Ellie's going to take her hunting rifle back, and Joel is going to take his trusty revolver back. Because Joel is better at melee, and Ellie is being a smaller teenage girl is actually better at being sneaky and using ranged weapons. Once again, if you played the game, you're probably aware of that. Anyway, so we're going to now start the chapter, and we're also going to say Ellie is taking the lead on this one because that's going to allow us to remove her second cube from her character flaw. We're going to do that. We're going to remove that second cube, and then we're going to flip this chapter card and see what it says. So moving cautiously through the rain-soaked streets, you hear the crackle of radio chatter drawing near. You slip into cover just as flashlights begin sweeping your position. It's a Fedra patrol. Hide. All survivors present must try to roll cunning or a crit in one attempt. If all survivors succeed, you stick to the shadows, slipping away undetected. You can discard a threat token and then search. If any survivor fails, some bad stuff is going to happen. We're not going to be able to search, and we're going to get hit. But we do get to discard the threat token one way or the other. So I guess we're going to take both die for Ellie and Joel. And since the die are already marked, Ellie and Joel, we're going to know which result is for who. And they both missed. They both got might. So, oops. We didn't just fail once, we failed twice. So now we read the rest. If any survivor fails, you are spotted. The patrol opens fire as you disappear into the gloom. All survivors present must roll hit dice equal to the threat level. Great. Losing 1 HP for each hit rolled. Discard a threat token. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to need to roll 2 hit dice for each survivor. We're going to start with Joel. Does Joel get tagged? He does. He gets tagged twice. So he goes from 10 down to 8. Does Ellie get tagged? Nope, she is good. Joel got messed up, though. And we do now get to discard a threat token. And this exploration is now over. Okay, so that was that day. We didn't get the pipe. We're going to day 4 now. We're going to try to get that pipe. We're going to try to clear this location and hope that maybe we can upgrade the hunting rifle, because that would be awesome. It's going to be really tempting if there's a option to rest, though. That's another thing we could do. We could scavenge. We could rest as well. Resting would allow each character to get 2 HP back. That would be really cool. But if there's a workbench option, we are definitely going to want to upgrade that hunting rifle. So, also, if we get combat with a sneak option, Ellie may very well get her special ability if she is able to sneak. So this time, it doesn't really matter who takes the lead, but it might as well be Ellie once again, because she has way more hit points. So let's say Ellie takes the lead once again. We are going to explore once again, and we're going to flip this chapter card to see what happens. Okay, so you are confronted by Fedra agents, demanding that you raise your hands and prepare to be searched. As you try to reason with them, one of them suddenly draws their firearm. Great, there's no sneak option. And actually, melee is a bit better than ranged in this scenario. We could just submit to search. This means we're going to have to discard a total of 2 item/weapon/ammo cards, and the guards will let you pass. And then we can discard a threat token, meaning the location will be cleared. Or we must roll a hit die, losing 2 HP for each. Oh, you. Right. The code word is you. This confused me the last time, but now I can see the code word is you. Since Ellie took the lead, you must roll a hit die, losing 2 HP for each hit rolled. Now that's weird. Anyway, yep, so she takes 2 hit points. She's down to 10. Okay, but we now get to begin combat. All right. So now we're going to roll some die here. Since the threat level is 1, we get to only roll 1 die. So that's the good news. It's a double, might and cunning. Okay. Then we're going to put down 2 single mites. 2 chapter die with a single mite on it. 2 singles, a double. And then we also roll 2 random results because we have 2 survivors. So you're going to have a different amount of die depending upon whether you're fighting solo or as a group. All right, we got yet another single mite, and we got yet another double. Okay. All right. It is very tempting to have Ellie shoot because she does have her hunting rifle, and that would allow her to take out 2 die in 1 shot. She could just take out the doubles, since when you shoot, you can take out any die that you want. Whereas if we were to do melee, we can only take out the doubles if we get, if both Joel and Ellie together get, like, for example, we have this double here that says might and cunning. If both Joel and Ellie got might and cunning, they could take out that 1 die together, or 1 crit could take out that die. So this is the thing about the doubles. It represents enemies that are a bit tougher and harder to hit. But that's why I'm thinking hunting rifle would be nice, because potentially that would be 1 shot taking out both of those. And then we just have 3 mites left. And Joel can probably take those out because he does have his relentless. So if he gets a block result, which is going to be either a crit or a mite, he can roll, I think, again and also count that. Roll again and apply both results. Yep. Okay. So yeah, let's say Ellie shoots. We're going to remove 1 of her cubes. And Joel does melee. So we're going to roll an ammo die and Joel's normal die to see what kind of results we get. If we're really lucky, then maybe we take out 4 die in the first round. Okay, so Ellie does get a hit. Joel gets a miss, and he takes some damage because he didn't get a block. He just got a plain old wisdom. So Joel is now down to 7. Ellie did get a hit, though, so she can take out those 2 doubles. Those are now gone, but we're going to have to roll a hit die to see if the guards shot back at her and were able to hit her. So this is very much like the beginning of the fight. If we roll a hit, which we did, Ellie takes 2 more points, and now she's down to 8. goes from 10 to 8. Oof. Okay, we have not been getting some lucky rolls here. Okay, I think Ellie might ditch. She might ditch her hunting rifle, and we'll both try to do melee, perhaps. Ellie will conserve her ammo for now, because we only have 3 die left. It's possible we take them all out. They are all might, though, so there's a low chance Ellie is going to be able to help here, unless she gets her might or a crit. Joel is very possibly going to be able to take out 2 in one shot, though. And we both miss. So we both take 1 point of damage. That is great. Let's roll again. Well, at least Ellie rolled a block, so she doesn't take any damage, but Joel rolled a miss, so he does take damage. So now he is down to 5. Oof. I think Ellie is going to take a shot in this next round to get rid of 2, potentially, if she can roll a hit. So, getting rid of Ellie's combat die, and we're going to... Can we please get some good results this time? Just a whole bunch of misses here. At least we got... Yeah, the fight is over, but Joel took 1 more point of damage. So he is down to 4 now. He got really messed up. So let's see here. But we get to remove 2 die from Ellie's hunting rifle, and Joel rolled a double result with a might on it, so we get to roll. We remove all those die, so now the combat is finally over. Those Fedra guys messed us up, but we get to remove the final threat token, and we get to search. So before we get the bonus thing, we get to do 2 search actions. So I think we're definitely going to take the pipe for Joel. He's going to ditch his plank and take the pipe. So that was raid the stash. And we could gain intel over at the sewers. That might be a good idea. Or we could scavenge by grabbing another item. I'm definitely not going to draw blind. Even though one thing that's going to happen is once we are done with this search and we flip the clear card over, well, even before we flip the clear card over, we're going to have to get rid of this. Whatever the heck this is going to be gone forever. So the only way we can potentially get this thing is if we draw blind right now. But it might be a bad thing, and our characters are already really messed up. So I think we raided the stash. We should either gain intel, or we should, at another location, not this one, or we should grab an item, which could be a health item, and that would be great. Yeah, let's grab an item, because we're really messed up. So if I could grab a health item and then we get 2 bonus actions with the 2 further bonus actions for clearing it. One might be a workbench. We can upgrade the hunting rifle, and we could also do something else. All right, we'll see how this works. We're going to grab the item first. What is it? It is a snack bar. Joel gets a snack bar. That's 1 hit point at least, I guess. That's something. I was hoping for maybe if we get an alcohol and a rag, that's a health kit we could put together. But so we get rid of this card now, and we see the location clear card now. And this tells us that we need to discard any remaining threat tokens. We already did that. At this location, discard any remaining cards in the stashed item deck without looking at them. So whatever the heck this thing is, it's gone forever, and we don't even know what it was. And we turn this over now to see what our options are. So as a group, you may immediately take the following bonus actions. The following bonus actions. Wait, does that mean we can do all of them? Or do we have to choose one of them? That'd be really cool if we could do all of them. Because there's a workbench here. That'd be awesome. Let's see. Yeah, clearing the location. 11. You are not required to complete all chapter cards at a location before moving on to the next, but if you do, you'll be rewarded with some group bonus actions. Bonus actions may be taken in addition to each survivor's individual daily action. When the final chapter card at a location is discarded, follow the instructions on its location clear card to learn what the available bonus actions for that location are. Bonus actions are one use and are taken as a group. If you wish to take any bonus actions, you must do so immediately when the location is cleared. They cannot be saved for later. Oh, yeah, so that's cool. Yeah. We could do all of them. We could do all of these things. That's great. Unlike the normal search, we don't have to choose. We can just do all of this stuff. So that's cool. So we can get 2 hit points back for each person. So Joel is going to go back to 6, and Ellie is going to go back to 9. Cool. So that was using medical supplies. Then we get to scavenge, draw 1 item. Yeah, we just get to draw 1 item. We're not going to say we get to draw 2 for each person. It is a rag. That's cool. If we can get alcohol, then Joel can make a med kit. Then we also get to use the workbench. Upgrade and fully reload, or just fully reload 1 ranged weapon in the inventory of 1 survivor at this location. No ammo cards required. So that means we could do that either to the revolver or the hunting rifle, and we're going to do it for Ellie's hunting rifle. That will fully reload it, and it means we get to go to this upgraded weapon deck, and we get to look for the upgraded hunting rifle, and Ellie now has that. It's basically just, it does even more damage now. It still has a capacity of 2 and a max fire rate of 1, but each hit is going to take out 3 chapter dice rather than just 1. That's pretty dope. I like that. So we discard the hunting rifle, and we also get to fully reload it. That is cool. Okay. So this chapter is clear. At the end of the day, discard this card. All right, that is discarded. This location is clear, and then the day is over, so we move it. We move the survivor calendar marker forward once again, and once again, we have yet another outbreak day. So we don't add tokens to the downtown location because we cleared it, but we are going to need to add tokens to the sewers, not to the suburbs because that's maxed out. You can only have 4 threat tokens at any one location. Now we have 3 at the top locations, both the top locations, University and Lakeside. So that has happened, and we are now on day 5. So I think what we are definitely going to do since there is literally nothing else we need to do here. Technically, there's a camp action we could do. There's an ammo stash, but we're not gonna have somebody use a whole day to reload a gun that they don't need to reload anyway. We're gonna have both of our survivors go up to the sewers, so we can be one location closer to Jackson, and we're gonna need to get rid of some stuff up in the sewers to be able to go to either Lakeside or University. We're already at day 5, so we need to get a move on here. So Ellie and Joel are going to travel up to the sewers, and we get to reveal the camp card for that. We do have medical supplies. It is very tempting to have Joel use the camp action today to heal himself up, because he got messed up in that last encounter. And honestly, Ellie could use the junkyard and draw 2 items. So we could use a whole day to just camp, and that's probably what we should do after what happened last time. So, all right, Joel is going to do medical supplies. This means the camp action is no longer going to be available from now on, but Joel will get 3 hit points back. So he goes from 6, 7, 8. He goes from 6 to 9. Cool. Then I'm going to flip over Ellie. She's going to use the junkyard. That's going to allow her to draw 2 items. If we're lucky, we get an alcohol. She gets a snack bar and an explosive. Okay. So since she has sugar and an explosive, she could make a smoke bomb. And we might as well do these things, actually. Ellie could trade. Well, they're both at 9, and they both have a snack bar. So what we could do here is, before the end of the day, we could do a few preparation actions here. Ellie and Joel could both eat their snack bars and both get 1 HP back. They'd both be up to 10. We discard those. And Ellie can combine the explosive and the sugar and get herself a smoke bomb. So now we go to the crafted item deck and we look for the smoke bomb. Ellie is going to have that now. So this is now a thing that she could either... This is a throwable item that she could either use to automatically pass a sneak check, or during a combat round, she could throw it, and if she hits, this round the enemy's ranged attack value is 0. That's kind of nice. I think we're going to use it so we can give her an auto sneak, because that's going to allow her to sneak, and that will unlock her special ability. So that's cool. All right, so we're now going to move to day 6. Flip the tokens over. And we're going to have to do nothing but explorers this time. We're going to have to keep exploring the sewers until we can move on, probably to Lakeside, because we know there's an El Diablo there. So that way Joel can swap the revolver with El Diablo. That would be pretty cool. So let's start the exploration. Joel is going to lead. We're going to flip the chapter card, and it looks like it's some clickers. This means we're gonna get choices. It says, in the flickering glow of your flashlight, you spot a clicker lurking in the darkness. It's not aware of you yet. What's the plan? Choose one option, then begin combat. So we can either just straight up charge it, and that means we will not have a listen and or a sneak round, but it also kind of means we're not going to have as many chapter dice to deal with, but it looks like the melee damage is a little bit higher if we charge it. So it's going to potentially do a little bit more damage to us, but we're also potentially going to be able to take it out a little bit quicker. Or we can bait it. There's going to be a lot more chapter dice that we're going to need to roll, but we do get the advantage of a listen and a sneak round beforehand. So that's pretty cool. I think we're going to bait it. So now we got to roll our chapter dice. So since the threat level is maxed out here, we're going to need to roll. We're going to need to begin by rolling 4 chapter die. All right, this is what we have. Wisdom, double, might, and another double. We got 2 doubles. All right. Then we have to put down 2 single mights and 2 single cunnings. So 2 single cunnings, because we have 2 survivors involved in the combat. And we're going to want 2 single mights. So that's 8 die so far, but now we also need to roll 4 more random die. That's going to mean we're going to have 14 chapter dice to take out. Oh my goodness. Well, I forgot to change things up a little bit here. Joel has a pipe now. That means the durability for the pipe is actually 4. So it's kind of basically the same thing as the plank, but he can definitely do that super hit option a lot more. Especially because I think you can actually upgrading melee weapons is something that you can do technically at any time if you can get binding and a blade. You can combine that with the melee weapon and then find the upgraded melee weapon. And I think the upgraded pipe weapon, where the heck is it? Yeah, it's got durability 3. So it's not the same as the original. It's not 4. But we could use this once. Twice, really. And upgrade it, and the durability would increase. We could really use it 3 times, then upgrade it, and the durability would increase once again. And I think it's not just durability. When you do the ultimate smack, then you're gonna do even more damage. That's pretty cool. I like that. But anyway, all right. So, right, we have to roll 4 random die. So this sounds bad. We have 14 die that we have to get rid of. Well, no, 12. 8 plus 4 is 12. Math. Okay, we got 3 cunnings and a double. We have a whole bunch of cunnings here. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to listen. We're going to try to listen. Harold. There he is. There he is, y'all. My best friend in the whole world. Harry the kitty cat. Harry, you're not going to mess up the board, are you? You're not going to try to steal anything, are you? He will do that sometimes. We're watching you, Harry. You're not going to steal any of the little cubes, are you? Harry? You're not going to do that, right? Right? Okay, you're going to be a good kitty, right? Okay, cool. Harry's going to be a good kitty. All right. Well, thanks to Harry moving, I move the camera, and now you guys almost certainly have a very good view of the current location that we're in. So you can see all the chapter die that we have here, and we're going to be doing... Maybe I should move it back a little bit further still so that you can see this, because we're going to need to roll some die here. We can do a listen, potentially. That might be good, because we could swap some of these sides here. So we'll listen with Joel, and if he gets wisdom, we get to swap 3 faces. If he gets a crit, we can swap 5 around. If he fails, we have to add an extra one. He does fail, we have to add an extra one. He got cunning. That is a fail. So we have to roll another one and add that. It is yet another double. Okay, great. So now we're going to try to listen with Ellie and see if she is going to get to change some faces here. Nope, she failed too. So, all right, we have to add another one. That's awesome. And it's wisdom. Okay, that's cool. All right, well, what we're going to do now is sneak with Ellie. She's going to use her smoke bomb so that we don't even have to roll to see whether she succeeds in her sneak. She just automatically does because she threw a smoke bomb. And I think we're going to have her do a ranged sneak attack. That means it's not guaranteed to hit. If you do a melee attack, it's guaranteed to hit. You still sort of roll, I think, your combat die to see whether you get a crit or not, because if you get a crit with the melee sneak attack, then you get to take out 2 die rather than 1. But if she hits with her hunting rifle, we can take out 3 chapter die, and she will not take any damage. Although honestly, like, since we're what's nice about sort of giving Ellie the big rifle is that, like, if we're going up against like clickers or runners or something like that, they have no melee damage. So if she just shoots, I don't have to worry about her getting messed up that much. She can just sort of sit back, shoot, and Joel sort of distracts them while she reloads and just dumps a bunch of ammo into them. So we're going to try to see if first of all, Ellie did sneak. So we get, we take this cube away, and we're going to look at special abilities. We might give her dependable. I could give her stealthy. That would mean she'd be almost guaranteed to be able to sneak. But dependable is almost better, because whenever you roll ammo dice or hit dice, if you wish to re-roll or hit dice, that means when the enemy shoots at you, you can re-roll the results. That's actually really freaking cool. Yeah, I think we're going to give her dependable. Because now that she has this, we get to roll to hit for her sneak attack. And if she misses, we get to roll again. And we still get to keep doing this again and again and again every time she shoots, or every time we have to roll the hit dice for her being shot at. So that's pretty cool. We're going to get rid of one ammo cube for Ellie, and we're going to roll an ammo die to see if she hits. And if she does, we get to remove 3 of these doubles before combat even starts. She got a hit, so we are going to get to remove 3 of these doubles. And we're taking out the wisdom might double. Okay. Those are all gone. We are now down to 11 die before combat has started. So why the heck not? We're just going to do it again. What we're going to do is Joel is going to do melee and Ellie is going to shoot. So we're going to remove her final cube. She's going to get to roll the ammo dice. And Joel is going to roll his combat die. If Joel gets I believe if Joel gets a block, he might get an extra hit. So that's cool. If Ellie misses, she gets to do a reroll. So let's see what happens. How many dice do we get to remove in the very first round of combat? Joel does get a block, and Ellie gets a hit. So Ellie gets to remove 3 die. We're going to remove these 2 wisdoms. Okay, we're gonna remove the double and maybe 2 cunnings, perhaps. Because it's not very likely. It's not as likely that Joel is going to get a cunning. But Joel does get to roll again, basically. We're going to remove a might as well, and we're going to get to roll again for him to see if he gets to take something else out. But the block still applies. He doesn't take any damage, neither does Ellie. What extra damage do we get to remove? It's going to be something. It's cunning, so Joel removes an extra cunning. Cool. So now we're looking a lot better here, aren't we? And we still haven't taken any damage. That's pretty good. So this round, I think Ellie is going to use her ammo to reload. Should she do that? Or should we both just do combat now? Because if she uses up that ammo to reload, that's the only ammo card we have. We might get another one. I mean, we only have 6 die left. Yeah, screw it. Let's just switch to melee. Ellie can reload later. She's been taking a bunch of shots. Okay, what do we get for this round? Joel. Well, we got 2 hits. We can remove a wisdom and a cunning, but both characters do take damage as well. So they both take 2 damage. So Ellie goes down to 8. Joel also goes down to 8. Okay, 4 die left. Well, once again, we get 2 hits. But we're also going to be taking damage as well. So might as well take out the wisdom and a might. Although Joel, honestly, both Joel and Ellie could decide to end the fight right now by doing a super smack with both of their weapons. We should probably do that, honestly, because they're both going to take 2 more damage and go down to 6. And we could keep this fight going to try and get the last 2, or we could just remove 1 durability cube from both of our weapons and remove all 4 die. And then that would just end the fight right there. So, all right, that's what we're doing. And so that's the end of that round. And we get to remove a threat token. That's gone. And we also get to search. So for our search action, we get to do 2 things. I think we're definitely going to want to probably just scavenge twice. Yeah, let's just scavenge twice. We're going to get a bottle and a rag, so who should have this bottle? It should probably be Ellie. No, it should be Joel. Joel is going to keep the bottle. That way he could sneak as well. Ellie is probably going to be able to sneak, but throwing a bottle would mean Joel can sneak. He's guaranteed to pass. We don't need to do that kind of thing for Ellie now because like she already did her sneak thing. So yeah. All right. We got those things from searching. We just get rid of this. Cool. And then we're going to move that token forward. We're at day 7. So boy, our health is kind of low. And there's no real way to increase it right now, unfortunately. We're just going to have to do another exploration and hope this one goes a little bit better. So here we go. Joel is going to take the lead again. Oh boy. A stalker leaps from the shadows. Terrified, you fall backwards, your gears skidding across the floor and disappearing into the darkness. You must turn over all weapon cards in your survivor's inventory. They cannot be used this chapter. Oof. Well, that's Joel. So that's not terrible. It means he can't do his super smack, but I think he can still do a melee anyway without a melee weapon. So yeah, he can just use his fists. But we're going to have to turn these cards over to represent that he cannot shoot and he cannot use his melee weapon. Combat special. After the first round of combat, shoot and throw actions can no longer be taken. Okay. So we're going to need to roll 3 die. Current threat level is 3. Cunning, might, and wisdom, all singles. Okay. We put down 2 single wisdoms. And we're also going to roll 2 randoms. So not anywhere near as many chapter dice as last time. 2 doubles. Okay. All right, so We could listen to try and change the faces here. Let's roll it for Joel. Damn it. He fails. We get an extra double. Great. Does Ellie succeed? She fails too. We now have 9, and 4 of them are doubles. All right. Well, for the first round, Ellie is going to need to take a shot so she can take out these 3 doubles. We're going to do a mulligan and say I did a preparation action for Ellie to reload her gun before we went into this. I just noticed her gun is empty. Should have done that as a preparation action. Because if that did not happen, she would have to waste the first round reloading it, and we wouldn't be able to get a shot. And we can only do a shot in the first round. And this is going to be a really tough fight if we can't take this 3 damage shot to really take out some of these chapter dice here. So we're going to roll a combat die for Joel, and we're going to roll a combat die for Ellie. And Ellie is going to... She doesn't get 3 cubes. Only 2. All right. What do we roll for both of them? If we're really lucky, we can maybe take out 5 die in the first round. Okay, well, Joel did get a hit, but he's going to take some damage. Ellie technically missed, but thanks to Dependable, she gets to roll again. Boy, I'm really glad I took Dependable, because now, yes, she's going to take out 3 of these doubles in one shot. Joel takes out the Cunning. So we only have 5 die left. But Joel does take 2 points of damage, bringing him down to 4 from 6. So that is not great. Okay, and Ellie is not going to be able to shoot again because you can't shoot after the first round. So we are both going to have to do melee to try and take out the rest of these die. It's possible the game ends here if we take enough damage trying to take out these 5 chapter die. What kind of results do we got? Okay, Ellie got a block and a Cunning. And Joel got a double, which is a Might and Wisdom. So we could take out this double. Yeah, we probably should do that. We'll take out this double. Ellie won't take any damage, but Joel is going to take 2 more, and that's going to bring him down to 2 points. Oof. All right, let's do another roll and see what we get. Ellie might want to use that super smack and get rid of her plank. Joel does a miss, and he takes 2 points of damage, and that ends the game. Joel is dead. Ellie got Wisdom, so she could have potentially do 2 damage. There'd be 2 chapter dice left. She'd be down to 4, I think. Yeah. Game is over. Joel is dead. So they got to the sewers, and Joel got murdered by a stalker, and I guess that's how our story ends after 2 hours. We only got... Well, I did say that we might not beat this, right? This game is challenging. Like I said, I've been practicing with it. I've been trying to get a little bit better. Not as bad as I used to be, I guess, but I mean, we still have plenty of time technically left on the calendar, but our survivors got messed up enough that one of them is just dead. So it's possible sometimes you might have to bite the bullet and use like the bypass thing so that like you can just get past something. You take a little bit of damage, but it's over. You get rid of the threat marker. You don't get to search, but at least it's just done. And you don't keep taking more and more and more damage. Because that's what happened here. We just kept taking more damage. Maybe we should have done the bypass because, like, at least we'd still be alive. But we're not. We're dead. So we learned something else once again. So, all right. That's it. That's it for The Last of Us. I'm probably not going to do another video of this on the channel because that's really all there is to this game. I mean, I could try to keep putting stuff up until I win. No, we're not really going to do that. But I wanted to, just put it up here to just show y'all, just try it out. This is the game in a nutshell. This is how this works. So I do have some links that you could click. I might as well just mention those for the absolute hell of it, just in case by some miracle somebody is still here after 2 hours of me just doing random unedited gameplay. I got a couple other social medias that I try to put updates on. So I do paint lots of minis. You could, if you like mini painting, I put all the stuff that I do up there. I try to put stuff that I've done for the channel up there as well. So I don't post an awful lot because I do, as I said, I do this in my spare time for fun, and I kind of have to work. The next couple of weeks, I'm probably going to be putting a lot of stuff up on the channel because I did break my toe. So, if you've been watching for a while, you like my stuff, here it is. I broke my toe, and I've got basically nothing and nowhere to go for the next couple of weeks. I think I'm going to try to clean up around the apartment here and definitely try to get a lot more painting done and a lot more gameplay up on the channel. That would be really cool. So today we did this, but also we have some paper minis that I put together. I'm probably going to do that. That is definitely going to be the next video. The last video that I put up on this channel was paper mini battle for Age of Fantasy, one-page rules. One-page rules, I cannot say enough good stuff about one-page rules. What's funny is I can't forget where I heard this or I saw it. One-page rules fans, when you're dealing with a one-page rules fan because they never shut up about it. And it's yeah, that's me. I love one-page rules, and I've already put a lot of stuff up on the channel for one-page rules, and I'm going to keep doing that. And the last one was paper minis, because, again, here you go. You're going to hear it. I love the fact that, in a nutshell, one-page rules, tries to make tabletop gaming as accessible as possible by... as the name implies, you only have one page of rules. The core rules is just one page. So it's pretty... The base version of the game is quick and easy to learn and pick up. But also, they make these files freely available so that you can just use an inkjet printer to print out some armies. You can try out, tabletop wargaming, technically for free Like, if you're fine with just doing the bare bones, just print out some stuff and like not have anything fancy on the table, I do have like a neoprene battle mat here. It's like an urban disaster. I think urban chaos is like the name of the pattern, and I've got a bunch of like urban terrain that I'm painting up to make it look nice. So lots of cool 3D terrain that I eventually want to populate this map with to make it all look nice. But paper minis are cool because, like, hey, it's free and you can get an army together very quickly. There is literally nothing to assemble. You just cut it out, you just put it together, boom. We're doing that next. We're doing Grimdark Future. So that's the sci-fi game. It's basically like poor man's 40K. Warhammer 40K. If you're not familiar with tabletop gaming, Games Workshop is like the big thing, right? And One Page Rules literally exists because of Games Workshop. I'm not going to go that much further into it. We're doing that next. Next up on the channel, we're doing. It's going to be what did I do again? Eternal Dynasty versus the Alien Hives. So we can check that out. We can talk about those factions. They have lore books. They have faction books. Yet another really cool thing that I love. Because like you can pay $15 for these faction books that they're making now. You get a bunch of extra stuff with a faction book. It's all completely optional. You do not need these faction books to play the game, but it's mostly just a big lore dump. Like it's the entire history of that faction. It goes really in depth, lots of cool art. It's just so awesome that like they went the complete opposite direction of this other company, Games Workshop. You don't have to buy a codex in order to play the game. With One Page Rules, the army lists are free in their free app called Army Forge, which is just, it's great. It's really easy and fun to use. I love making lists with it. And I have a folder around here somewhere that has like enough stuff that I already printed up for like, I think 8 more armies. I believe so. I think I did 4 sci-fi and 4 fantasy. So we're really going to be getting into One Page Rules on this channel. Like I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff. I'm painting stuff. I did these paper minis. I would like to. There's so much stuff with One Page Rules. Like there's narrative campaigns that they make. There's a bunch of like unique missions based off of like a short story that you can do. There's a skirmish version. There's a battle version of both fantasy and sci-fi. They have RPG. I've done all of these on the channel so far, by the way. I did like the battle version, I did the skirmish version, and the RPG version for the sci-fi. The fantasy, I only did that once with paper minis, but we're definitely going to be getting into that more at some point. Like I definitely have some old Games Workshop minis lying around. We're just past 2 hours now. I need to stop ranting about One Page Rules. I told y'all when you're dealing with an OPR fan, they never shut up about it. So that's what we're doing next. We're gonna check that out, and hey, check out I've got a Blue Sky and an Instagram where I try to post pictures of stuff that I'm doing. Might as well say there's also a link for a Ko-fi that you could potentially donate to. I haven't got a single donation yet. It's fine. It doesn't matter. I really don't expect anybody to give me money. I'm just some random guy on the internet. This is a tiny channel. I don't even have 100 subs yet. I don't even know if I deserve the 93 subs that I have already. It's whatever. We'll see. I'm going to see y'all later. Next time, we're going to be doing Grimdark Future, as I said, and it's going to be Eternal Dynasty versus the Alien Hives. We're going to check that out. Take it easy, y'all. Take care of each other.